Honda Odyssey today. Really bad noise, as you can hear that knocking noise. Small chirp. Serpentine belt possibly. So this is a very common issue. It's going to be the tensioner for the timing chain. You can feel it. If you put your finger on it, you can feel it shaking. That's it right there. Alright, so first thing you want to do is remove the tire. Remove the cover that's right here. You'll be exposed to this serpentine belt and everything. We're going to get a socket and put it on this bolt thing right here. That way we can compress this tensioner and remove this belt. Now we're on the top. I removed the serpentine belt, no belt, and I'm going to have to remove stuff right here. This is a module right here, transmission control module. Okay. Gives us a little bit more room so we can like start moving stuff here. So now what I'm going to do is remove this power steering pump, because this power steering pump is definitely in the way. Remove this hose right here. It's just one clamp, and then I believe we might be able to take off this line, or if not, we'll just move the whole line and pump with it. Alright, next, to remove the pump, there's going to be two bolts. They're both going to be 12 millimeter. One right here and one on the bottom, which you'll see right there. So 1 and 2, and the pump just comes out. So we're going to scoot it over right there. Just leave it there. Now we got a lot more room to start taking off these plastic covers. This one and this one as well. That way we can see where the timing belt is, and then we'll make our way down. Now to remove these covers, it's pretty easy. It's just 10 millimeter bolts right here. Alright, after you take off all the bolts, then this should just fly right off. Alright, next remove this tensioner pulley right here. Alright, next you want to remove this whole tensioner assembly. It's this bolt right here is really tight, so you'll need a pretty big breaker bar to get in here. And then this bolt right here is a 12 millimeter. It's pretty easy to take out. But yeah, take out this tensioner assembly. Alright, so for this part right here, you might need a special tool for this, or a big impact. This is a regular 19 millimeter socket. This is the special one they sell. As you can see, the thickness is ridiculous. This one's super heavy. This one's light. We're gonna give it a shot. See if this Milwaukee can take it out. This one right here, but we'll see. Looks like that's enough. Weighted socket going in. Here we go. Oh, would you look at that? That was pretty cool. And now we got all this room right here to remove those covers. So we'll start removing the covers and go from there. These cover bolts. Alright, so we have everything removed. Cover is removed. And as we can see, we can finally get to timing the engine before we take everything off. So, as you can see, there is a little tiny arrow on the top of this sprocket. And then there's a little tiny arrow on the block, which is right here. Up here, there's an arrow right here. Line it up with this arrow right here. Now, to verify it's in the right spot, because it could be in two different spots because it rotates at different rates. This says number 5 right here. We need this to be number 1. And that way we know we're on top dead center for number 1. And basically when we do get this to number 1, it will have a lineup, but we have to spin it 180 more degrees to make sure this is number 1. But it says number 5 right now. I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but this says number 5 right now. Because we're gonna rotate it over one more time, like basically 360 degrees again. One full rotation, and that will most likely get us onto number 1. Now it's pretty hard to turn this thing, so get a long ratchet, or you could take out the spark plugs. That way it doesn't build too much compression, and it's a lot easier to turn, but it's not that difficult. It just takes a while. Arrows are lined up again, and we come to the top, and we can now verify that there is a number 1 right here. Alright, so I had to remove this transmission module right here. There's 3 bolts, 1, 2, and 3 on the bottom. All I did was scoot it over, fit the 17mm socket down there to get to the transmission, the motor mount. As you can see, we got to remove it. 1 bolt there, and then 1 bolt, 2 more on the side, and that's about it. Alright, so I took out this motor mount. This is how it goes. 1 bolt, 1 big bolt there, 1 big bolt right there, and 1 big bolt right here. I'll have to call up the customer because this thing is completely done. That is very bad motor mount. Very, very bad. So, put that right there. As you can see, now we got this room right here. Now we can remove this bracket. There's 2 bolts right there. 1 long bolt that goes right here, but I already took it out. Last but not least, the last one that goes right here that holds the last part of that big bracket now. Alright, then I removed the last remaining part of the mount, which is this, 3 bolts. See, 1 is in here. But yeah, take out that mount. Now we can start removing all the little accessories, like the tensioner. Has 2 10mm bolts, this idler pulley, the other pulley, and then we can finally get to the water pump. Alright, here's everything removed. This one was pretty easy, just a 14mm bolt, take that out. Same thing with this, take that out. Tensioner, easy, take that out. Last thing left is all of these bolts, 10mm bolts for the water pump, and the water pump should just come out easy. Alright, I'm gonna try to record this. Got all the bolts around it loose. There's a little slot right here you can pry at. Get some of that coolant out. Oh, there it goes. There it goes, all the coolant. Alright, so I put the water pump in. That's pretty basic, self-explanatory. They go torque down to 105 inch-pounds. Inch-pounds, remember, not foot-pounds. There it is. I did not put any silicone or anything whatsoever. Yeah, that's how it is. Now we're gonna start putting the rest of the stuff back on. I cleaned it up a little bit, but everything else is just pretty much the same thing as putting it. It's the same thing as taking it off, to be honest. So pretty easy. All right, here we are. I installed the belt. One thing you have to make sure is that there is no slack at all. You see this? No slack. No slack. Up here, there is no slack. No slack. All the slack has to, I'm telling you, it has to end up. No slack, no slack, no slack. All the slack has to end up right here. Is the only place there should be slack is right here next to the tensioner. If there's slack up here, if there's slack up here, here, or here, you're off by a tooth for sure. So do not, it's not on right. There must not be any slack whatsoever here. All this slack should be after this final one right here, and then that's where you pull this grenade pin. After you mount the 2 bolts right here, pull this just like that. Here's the pin. Now it's tensioner should put tension here, and now there's no longer any slack whatsoever. So now what we're going to do is we are going to verify, spin this around, and verify it lines back up to where it should. Because if it doesn't, then we are off. Alright, so I just spun it around one full turn and a second full turn. See the mark right there, lined up. Verify on the top. You see the number 1. Draw a straight line, should hit that line on the block. Same thing with this one right here. Line on the sprocket should line with that line on the block. So I've just verified that is okay. Now the rest you can just put all back together like how you took it off. I'm going to clean a lot of this up because it's a bit oily, but the rest of it you just put together, and that's pretty much it. The main part, the timing belt part, the water pump part is officially done. All this is fresh, all this is new, and that's it. Thanks for watching.